This is Right on the Money with Tom Mosley, founder of Mosley Wealth Management.
Our mission at Mosley Wealth Management is to help people make sure they never run out of income the rest of their life and they pay as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes.
Since 1995, Tom Mosley and his team have been creating comprehensive, custom financial plans to help you preserve what you've earned and pursue what you've envisioned.
In retirement, a lot of people have built a great lump sum. We call that your lumber yard. But you need a blueprint to put that lumber yard into a plan that you can build a retirement house to live in.
What's on your mind this week, Southern California? The stock market, taxes, inflation, income, Social Security, how to ease into the life of your dreams? Let's discover conservative financial strategies starting right now. This is your Right on the Money Radio Hour with Tom Mosley.
And a very happy weekend to you. You are listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management based right here in Southern California. And I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. Each week, we are committed to providing you with retirement planning solutions. We love that you're joining us this weekend. Tom, my friend, always a joy to be with you. How are you today?
I am doing great. I want to take a time out. You always say such nice things about me. You talk about I've been doing this 30 years and stuff. I cannot tell you, Kristen, how much I appreciate what you bring to the show, because if you're listening out there, I've worked with broadcasters before who had no financial background at all, and they're good from a broadcasting expert specialist type approach. Kristen, you're just as good as they are, absolutely. Plus, the nice thing about what you bring to my show every single week is you are also a person who's been in this field for over a decade.
Hard to believe.
I know, but yeah, because you're just 25 years old.
Right, I wish.
But you bring insight. There are times when I'm talking away and I talk about a subject and I'm blind to a really key insight that you just step up and bring, whereas the broadcasters I've worked with have never been able to do that. So I just wanted to take a little parentheses to say in this show, if you're a regular listener, like a lot of you are, I know that because so many of you come into our offices every single week and you say, I've been listening to the show for a year and a half, 2.5 years, and you finally decided to come in and talk to us, and you say that, if you're listening to this show on a regular basis, you not only have my 30 years of experience, but you have a wealth of over a decade of experience from Kristen that she's bringing to the show every single week. And I appreciate that, Kristen.
Oh, Tom, thank you so much for your kind words. You know, I look forward to this time with you each and every week, and it's such a joy. You know, we instantly connected when we met. We have so many things that we are both passionate about that we have in common. And it's just such a joy to get to serve the entire community of Southern California alongside with you and the entire team of Mosley Wealth Management. So thank you for the privilege and the honor of doing so.
Well, you're very welcome. I think the key thing that we have together, I was in ministry for almost 20 years before I got into this field. And you were also in ministry working on college campuses and through college ministries. And I think that's where we connected. It's always nice to connect with the Lord.
Yes, absolutely. And with like-minded individuals. And then, you know, what's interesting about my career too, is I've been so blessed to get to do so many different things. I obviously then had all the on-camera training and the broadcasting training when I lived in New York City after I left college ministry, but then got into financial educating and got to do that for over, it was over 10 years ago when I first got licensed and started. And here we are. And we found out we had a mutual friend that we had both worked with too. So it's just, It's interesting how our lives have been woven together to this point.
And you bring up the being on camera too. Let me hasten to add this. If you're listening out there and you've never seen our show on television, we're on Channel 9 in the Los Angeles area. Every Saturday that there's not a football game, we're on there at noon. And then every Sunday at 1 p.m. on Channel 9, we're there. And you'll have to divert yourself from the other football games that are on the other channels to come over and watch what we're doing. And if you're in San Diego, we're at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning on KGTV, the ABC station, every single Sunday morning. So you can catch our 30-minute Right on the Money TV show, and you can see what we look like on camera. I'm not much. But Kristen, you certainly add to that show immensely.
You're so sweet. I love getting to do both with you, and hard to believe that we've been doing radio together for a year now. It's gone
Yep.
by fast.
Yep.
Gosh. Oh, well, thank you, Tom, for your very kind words. And thank you to all of you for tuning in week after week and joining us. And, really, this show is all about you. We want you to have the retirement of your dreams. We want you to be able to ease into the retirement of your dreams. If you've listened to the show for a while, you know that EASE acronym stands for envision, analyze, strategize, and evaluate. That's what Tom and the team of Mosley Wealth Management would love to be able to provide for you. And this week, we are going to continue a conversation that we started last weekend on the radio show. Because of Tom's experience, this show came out of a conversation you were having with someone where they were asking you, okay, Tom, you've been doing this for almost 30 years. You've been working with retirees, helping thousands of people retire successfully. If you had to boil it down to the 10 things that you would want everyone to know, what would those 10 things be? And we had such a powerful conversation last week. We got through the first, what was it, 4-ish things, 4 or 5 things?
About 4.5.
Yeah, exactly. So I would love for you just to remind folks and summarize what we covered last week.
Well, last week we first started talking about it, and we sort of took the approach of, when I was talking to this person, it's like, you've been through a lot in your financial journey. Tell us what you would say the major things, if you were just going to give a snapshot of maybe 10 things that people should really be aware of and really take care of. This is what you would talk about. And it's funny. Recently, we had our family over, and we've been to Europe within the past month for 17 days, and so my kids were over, and they all gathered around my little iPhone. I would take it, and you take tons of pictures, but you would scan through to the major things that you saw. And we were in all of those places and all parts in between, but we didn't look at everything, but we just looked at the major points as I was scanning through those pictures. And that's pretty much what we did last week, started last week, and what we're doing now. And I said the number one thing I think people need to do is you need to sit down and have your goals and your needs and your dreams written down. What does your retirement look like? And once you have that, you've got a price tag. You know what it's going to cost to do that. So then you move into the real financial things. The second thing I said, and I think it is so crucial, Social Security is so crucial that you get Social Security right. And for those of you who are listening who are married, you have to get Social Security right for both of you.
Yes.
I've always likened Social Security to putting together a jigsaw puzzle, and it's the rim of the puzzle.
Yep.
Time out. I heard a great joke this week. I have to tell you, Kristen.
All right.
Okay. I heard this older gentleman bought a jigsaw puzzle. And he went home, and like everybody, he dumped out all the pieces on his little mat, his table there, and he began to try to put them together, and he couldn't put any of the pieces together. So he called one of his friends, and he said, "Can you come over here and help me? I am just struck that I can't find even the edge pieces on this puzzle." And he said, "Well, what kind of puzzle is it?" He said, "It's a puzzle of a rooster. Should be real simple." So his friend came over and helped him get the cornflakes back into the box. So sometimes
that's a corny joke if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I have a mentor named 𝗪 and he had that on one of his shows recently, and I couldn't wait to tell it. But here's the deal. Social Security, number 2 in the list. Once you have your dreams, your Social Security is so important that you get the rim of that jigsaw puzzle put together, because then everything else fits with that guaranteed Social Security annuity that you have from the government. That's going to pay you something, even if they diminish it. It's going to pay you something every month for the rest of your life. Next, you have to gather, number 3, you have to gather all your financial information. We talked about that on last week's show. You want the whole show? Go to YouTube and go to Mosley Wealth Management, and you can see all of our TV shows, all of our radio shows, and all of our podcasts. Number 4, you have to create a budget. How much am I going to need each month? And we were ending last week's show with, once you have all of that together, you begin to build a comprehensive plan. And that plan includes your income and where that's going to come from. Social Security. That's why that's so foundational. That's why that's number 2 right after your dreams. Now, number two on this plan is not after your income is inflation,
Yes.
because we've forgotten about that for 30 or 40 years in America because it really hasn't hit us. But bingo, it raised its head and it went to 8.7% a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to be careful that in a 20 or a 30-year retirement, even though we hope to get inflation back down to 2 or 3%, it may raise its head again to 8%. Well, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle it? The third thing is your investments. You probably don't need to be as risky at 75 as you were at 25. We'll talk about investments a little bit later when we talk about risk. Number four is taxes. Because if you've got most of your money in a 401k or an IRA, you've still got to pay taxes on it. You say,
Mm-hmm.
I still got to pay. And guess what? Right now, you still have to pay tax on your Social Security in
Yes.
most cases,
Yep.
up to 85%. So you better have a tax strategy, because if you don't, the government has one for you. And then fifth, hey, it gets worse. Okay, the healthcare. How much is it going to cost us as we wear down, wind down, break down? How much is it going to cost us as an individual or as a couple? And then the last point in building a real comprehensive plan is legacy. How are you going to leave it? You have to make those decisions. Say, a lot of Kristen, so many people, so many of you who are out there, when you come in, I hear this statement. They say, I just don't like to think about dying.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many decisions that you've got to make financially before you pass away, that if you don't make those decisions and take care of those provisions, you're going to leave your heirs in a lot of trouble. They're going to have a lot of things to dig out. And here's the deal. There are things you know about your finances that your kids don't know, your brother doesn't know, your sister doesn't know, nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to get that legacy piece together: income, inflation, investments, taxes, healthcare, and then legacy. That's what a retirement blueprint's all about. We can help you put one together for absolutely free, but you've got to call in and get one.
And the way that you get your complimentary retirement blueprint, again, this is an invitation to be able to come in and sit down with an all-star advisor from the team of 𝗪 Wealth Management. They're going to start with a blank sheet of paper, and they're going to create a customized retirement blueprint for you. So to claim yours, simply call 888-930-5609 or visit us online at mosleywealthmanagement.com. That's MOSLEY wealthmanagement.com. When we come back, we're going to be continuing our conversation of the 10 things Tom wants every one of you to know about your retirement. Stay with us.
Social Security is easy, right? The question is, should I take it now or later? Well, there are dozens and dozens of ways to take Social Security if you're single, and even more if you're married. This one-time decision can also affect how much you pay in taxes, how much you receive in lifetime payouts for you and possibly your spouse. You could increase your nest egg by tens of thousands of dollars just by being informed, and unfortunately, the Social Security office is not allowed to give you comprehensive financial planning advice. You've paid into Social Security for decades. Don't you want to make sure you optimize your retirement income? Build your Social Security benefits into a retirement income plan with all of your assets. Get your own tailored, no-cost Social Security income strategy with Tom Mosley of Mosley Wealth Management. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
Welcome back, Southern California. You're listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley, and I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. We are talking this weekend about the 10 things that Tom wants everyone to know about preparing for retirement based on his almost 30 years of helping thousands of people retire successfully. And Tom, as you were so kind to point out at the beginning of the show, I have now been in this industry for over a decade. Hard to believe. We both have seen a lot, and with our combined almost 40 years, there's so many key things that we know folks need to be paying attention to that often our industry doesn't talk about, because so much of our industry is solely focused on the investment management piece. But clearly, as you've reviewed the 5 things we went through on last week's show of the part 1 of this conversation, there's so much that goes into creating a successful retirement plan.
Absolutely, because like number 6 is healthcare cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's just think through it just a minute. Healthcare, the very first thing you need in a healthcare situation that so many people, it's a curveball that hits them because they don't understand Medicare, even something as simple as Medicare. And it
As
can,
simple. I interject. Ha ha.
okay, right.
It's complicated.
Okay, okay. Then
But
then
yes.
I need to go through my A, B, C, and D of Medicare because it does get simple. But you're now let's back to your point. You said a lot of investment advisors don't address this because
Mhm.
they pride themselves, even their commercials are, we don't sell commissionable products. Okay. We don't sell commissionable products. What if you need Medicare?
Mhm.
That's a commissionable product. Well, you're with an investment firm, not a planning firm like we are. Okay, not a wealth management firm like we are that includes the whole spectrum of things. What if you need long-term care? Well, that's a commissionable product. So you can't get it from that investment advisor. You've got
Mhm.
to go to another investment person, another person who could help you with those insurance needs. What if you still have a mortgage and God forbid you've taken out student loans for your grandchildren and you've still got something where you need a small term life insurance? Well, sorry, that's a commissionable product. What if you need a product that will bring you guaranteed lifetime income for as long as you live, even after you run out of your money? You say, I like that product. What is that? Well, that's an annuity. And a
Mhm.
lot of people see the value of an annuity to help them guarantee their income through retirement. Well, I'm sorry, those investment companies that pride themselves in not selling commissionable products, and I got to be really careful because they're always willing to sue people who knock anything they say and do. But if you don't sell a commissionable product, you can't sell Medicare, you can't sell long term
Mhm.
care, you can't provide for your clients life insurance or an annuity. All of those things are out of bounds, and you've got to go somewhere else and have another professional work with you. So it's really important when we throw out the term a comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
A comprehensive plan says we don't just work with the part that we like to work with.
Right.
We work with all of the parts that you need. I want to tell you, I want to make a confession right here to all of you who are listening. Many of you listen to me week in and week out, and some of you I've helped with this, but I don't enjoy helping people with Medicare.
Hmm.
Okay.
And why is
Uh,
that?
well, it's like going to the gym. I do not like working out. I mean,
Mm.
you sweat, it's tough, you're out of breath if you do it the right way. You push yourself, it's the right way. But you know what I do enjoy? I do enjoy having worked out. I do
Mm.
enjoy it when I
Mhm.
walk away from it and I feel better
You feel
and
those
I know
endorphins, right?
I've done the right thing. Now let's
Mhm.
back up and let me show you what I'm talking about. I don't enjoy the time I spend in helping people with Medicare. That's a confession, okay? I know I shouldn't be saying that, but here's what I do enjoy. I do enjoy looking across the table from you and knowing that I am a complete financial planner. And one of the things that could cost you as a single person an average of $180,000 in your lifetime in retirement, and as a married couple, over $300,000 in your lifetime in retirement. I enjoy helping people make sure that they've taken care of their Medicare. So
Mhm.
it's like I don't enjoy the process, but I enjoy the fact, and I would never not work with people to help them make sure that they've got their health care coverage in the right place. And if you're over 65, that's Medicare. So you understand where I'm coming from there,
Oh,
Krista?
I absolutely do. And I think, it just speaks to, we say this on the show often, that how you make a decision in one area of your financial life can and will affect all the others. That's why you have to look at things from that comprehensive, holistic point of view. And I think that's one of the things that can make retirement planning so confusing for folks, maybe on the front end when they haven't done it yet, is not knowing who to go to, or, okay, well, I got to go to this person for my Medicare, but I got to go to this person for my investments, and I got to go to this person for legacy planning. And that feels that's a lot to try to handle. So knowing that they can come and take care of all these pieces of their financial plan and puzzle under one roof gives folks such peace of mind. You also know that then everything is coordinated because, especially from a tax perspective, we see this happen all the time, don't we, Tom? Folks make a decision over here and all of a sudden they trigger negative tax consequences over in this area of their life. And I think Medicare is a really good example of how that can go wrong. And so I know that a lot of financial advisors out there don't even discuss Medicare with their clients. And you know why they tell me they don't? They say that there's just not enough money in it. It's not worth my time.
Yeah.
But you and I both know, no, this is the fiduciary responsibility. If you are doing what's in a client's best interest, you are looking at all these pieces and how they impact someone's financial plan. And that includes this important conversation of Medicare and healthcare costs.
Exactly. I am a teammate with my clients to make sure that their plan is complete and comprehensive. Now let's back up on that. I see so many people bring in statements, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show about how they're so mismatched to their risk level. I see so many people when it comes to Medicare, because you have to go through special training every single year to be able to offer Medicare Advantage, which might be, we're going to talk about it, but it might be what's best for you. Well, every advisor that's got an insurance license, that has an insurance license in California, every advisor can sell you a Medicare supplement, and they make pretty good money off the Medicare supplements, or, you know, some money off the Medicare supplements when it comes to making it. But you have to take this test and pass this test at a 90 percentile level every single year. And it's sometimes grueling in order to be able to offer Medicare Advantage. Okay. So I've seen so many people say, well, my advisor, who was an insurance guy, but he wasn't a Medicare Advantage approved person to be able to offer it. He only said this was only available, and they've sold them a Medicare supplement that might cost them $180, $200, $220, plus they have to go down and get a prescription drug plan that might cost them $40, $50, or $60 extra. But that's the only one my advisor presented to me. So, you know, I can't sit across the table and tell a half truth when I'd say, if I were to say that the Medicare supplement's all that's available to you, the Medicare Advantage is also available to you as well. And is it right for you? I don't know. I don't know until I sit across the table from you, but I've got to be trained in that. I've got to take the test. I've got to pass the test. I've got to stay up to date on it for you, because it's going to cost you money if you don't have the right kind of coverage. So that's why I do it.
Yep. Well, because it makes such a difference and it's the right thing for you. And I love that you are about planning someone's retirement with them. It's not, you know, you don't work for anyone other than your clients, and you're working together. This is a collaborative process to help them design the retirement that they've always wanted to have.
Yeah, if I work for one of the big box firms that runs the commercials on the weekend, on the football games and the golf matches, if I work for one of them, they can fire me. Okay. The only person who can fire me, the only person who can fire any one of my 8 now absolute fiduciary advisors that we have on our team, the only one that can fire us is you, if you're working with us as our client. Because so therefore we answer to you, and we have to answer to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, but we answer to you that we've got to do the right thing for you or you fire us. Now, let me get into Medicare and tell you some of the nuts and bolts. Okay. I'm going to be very overview here. I'm not going to recommend one or the other. If you sense a recommendation, you're wrong. I'm not doing that. I have to sit down with you in order to be able to recommend what you need. You can get a Medicare Advantage policy, and many of you will liken that. You'll look at it, you'll think about it, and you'll say, that sounds like an HMO. You're right. You have a primary care physician. You have a network of doctors that you have to go to. You can also get a Medicare supplement. It's called a Medicare gap theory. And once you look at it and you understand it, a lot of people say, well, that sounds like a PPO. Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. You can go to any doctor that takes Medicare anywhere in the United States. I tell people, if you travel a lot, or if you have a lot of ologists, you know what that means? Cardiologists, rheumatologists. If you've got a lot of issues, you want to have the flexibility many times, if you can afford it, to take that, which costs a little bit more, that supplement, so that you can go to any doctor you want to at any time you want to. I'm going to a specialist next week, and I didn't have to get an approval through my primary care physician because I have a supplement. I can go directly to that specialist without a pre-approved appointment with them. Which one's best for you? I have no idea. I have to sit down, look at your doctor list, look at your medications, and say, let's look at the policies and see what's going to be most cost effective for you, but don't just base it on cost. You have to also look at your health situation the way it is right now. And some people say, well, you know what? I don't know what my health is going to be in the future, so I want to have flexibility, so I want to go with the supplement. Sit down and talk to somebody about your Medicare and make sure that you've got an advantage or a supplement, but the right one for you.
As you're listening to this, I encourage you to ask yourself, if you're already working with another financial planner, have they ever had this conversation with you? Have they ever looked at what you are currently enrolled in for your Medicare and made sure that it is, in fact, the right plan for you that meets your needs and is part of your overall comprehensive financial plan? If not, it's time to get a second opinion. And the team of 𝗧𝗠 Wealth Management would love to be able to do that for you. So to claim your complimentary retirement blueprint, again, that number to call is 888-930-5609. We'll be back with more right after this.
More Right on the Money with Tom Mosley right after this. Get your own no-cost retirement plan review at 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Is having $1 million enough to retire? For years, many have considered this to be the goal amount to have for retirement savings, $1 million. But that's the $1 million question. Is that enough for today's modern retiree? Are you sure you've saved enough for a 25 or 30-year retirement? Are you concerned about covering large expenses, including taxes and long-term care? If so, you're not alone. But there is a solution. With a comprehensive financial plan, you can take control of your finances to help you achieve your long-term goals. At Mosley Wealth Management, let us help you work towards peace of mind by implementing a complete retirement strategy. Call Tom Mosley and the team of Mosley Wealth Management right away to receive your complimentary, comprehensive written financial plan. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
How do you know if you're retirement ready? That's a question many people ask themselves as they approach their golden years. We believe the answer can be complex and depends on many factors, such as your savings, monthly expenses, and lifestyle goals. At Mosley Wealth Management, we can help you determine if you're retirement ready. We'll work with you to assess your financial situation, identify any potential income gaps, and develop a customized plan that aligns with your goals. Call us today to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Tom Mosley and the team at Mosley Wealth Management for your complimentary retirement blueprint. Call 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Welcome back, Southern California. You're listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management based right here in Southern California, and I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. We are continuing our part 2 of this conversation, 10 things that Tom wants everyone to know after almost 30 years of helping people successfully retire. And we are up to number 7 on this list of 10 things, which is diversify and adjust your investments based on your risk tolerance. This is a big one. And it's amazing, Tom, that I think that so many folks get into trouble here with their hard-earned money they've saved up for retirement when they aren't properly diversified and they don't make these necessary adjustments.
The key word is risk. What kind of risk are you taking? I want to tell you a story of Mike Combs. Mike Combs is a friend of mine that lives in Fort Myers, Florida, and Mike's about 3 years older than I am. And when I was in the 9th grade, I got in Mike Combs' nice Dodge Challenger. And we were in Lehigh Acres, Florida, because it was a new developing area. And Mike said, "You want to see how fast this thing will go?" And I can remember when we went by the policeman, we were going 115 miles an hour.
Tom Mosley.
Yes, and I was scared to death. That was pre-seatbelt,
Oh,
pre-everything.
no, no,
Some
no.
some of you are listening to me out there and you say, "Yeah, and it wasn't Mike Combs, but I rode with somebody else,"
And what
okay?
color was this Challenger? I have
It
to know
was a
that.
baby doll UCLA blue
Ooh.
Dodge Challenger. It was such a nice car. Well, Mike got a ticket. We actually got taken to the police department and the whole 9 yards. Okay, I went back to Fort Myers, Florida just a few years ago, and I had a time to meet with Mike Combs, and he said, "Let's go get something to eat." I don't remember what kind of car he was driving. I think it was a Honda.
Mhm.
I thought we were going to get run over, okay? Because Mike is puttering along. We go to make a right-hand turn. I remember to get on Cleveland Avenue in Fort Myers, Florida, and he takes forever to get up to speed, and cars are coming by and blowing the horn. And this was the same Mike Combs, okay?
Mm, mhm.
Okay, now here's my point. When you're young, I don't necessarily argue that you drive 115 miles an hour in a Dodge Challenger in Lehigh Acres, Florida, but you're going to just take more risk normally, and
Mhm.
you've got an opportunity to take more risk generally when you're 25, when you're 30, when you're 35 when it comes to investments. But when you get to be 65, 70 and 75 and you've got a good lump sum, you really need to be careful. Now, here's why you need to be careful. You are so used to going a certain speed when it comes to risk. Now,
Mhm.
now what's the opposite or the term we use with risk? Risk reward.
Right.
Okay. In our level, we always talk about in our field, we talk about risk reward. And the general idea is the more risk you take, the chances are you're going to get a better reward. But also, the more risk you take, I'll put another R in here, the chances are you're going to go faster into reverse. Okay.
Mm,
When the
mhm.
market goes down. So when I'm 25 years old, I don't care. I don't care if there's a downturn in the market.
Right.
Because if there's a downturn in the market, you're 25 years old, you're listening to me right now, hope for a downturn in the market because you can buy shares into your future retirement that's going to come 35 or 40 years from now at a much cheaper price.
Yes, it's on sale right now. When you're younger and you have time on your side, that is the best time. That's how you buy low.
You got it. You got it. So when you're 65 years old and you don't have a plan, you're just drawing money out of your lump sum. If the market goes down, it's exactly opposite. If the
Mhm.
market's down 50% like it's been twice since the year 2000, you are taking twice as many shares out.
Yep.
Now let's go back to what we're talking about, risk. When you are 25, risk is not that important. Just a solid investment up and down, it's going to go. You guys know the market's going to go up and down every single week. There's going to be some ups and some downs almost every single week. But overall, it's going to go up. But in retirement, you are no longer accumulating. You're taking money out. It is so crucial that you really look at your risk level. Now, a lot of you are thinking, okay, well, okay, my person at my big box firm talks to me about conservative, balanced, moderate growth, and
Mhm.
aggressive growth. Well, what does that mean?
Right, because
Okay.
that can mean so many different things to so many different people. It's all relative.
It's absolutely true. You need to quantify it. There are very great tools out there. We use it. One of them is called 𝗧𝗪𝗧, and it allows you to answer a series of questions. It's not a test, it's just answering questions. And at the end of about 9, 10, 11, 12 questions, you will bounce back and forth in decisions you make in those questions, and bingo, it will hit a number. And almost 100% of the people that since I've been using 𝗧𝗪𝗧 for 7 years, and it'll be a number between 0 and 100. 0, no risk. 100, absolutely as much risk as the market. You may be a 50, you may be a 44, you may have been a 90, but you might be a 45 now because you
Mhm.
come to the point where you just don't want to take as much risk.
You just don't wanna get in that Challenger and go 115 miles an hour anymore, right?
You don't want to, and let me add one more thing. You don't want to put a blindfold on when you're going 115 miles an
Yes.
hour
Yep.
And you've got to take the blindfold off when it comes to risk. Now, there's three risk scores that could be important too, for sure. There's your risk tolerance. That's you internally. What score do you score? Secondly, if you're married, there's your spouse's risk score,
Yes.
because they may be entirely different. Brian and Cindy, you're out there. You know what I'm talking about. You listen to me. Brian, you came in at a 22. Cindy, you came in at a 95. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So you were diametrically, Brian was the non-risk taker. Cindy was the risk taker. You guys took it together and you came in at a 57, right smack dab in the middle. You need to know your risk score. And if you're married, the second one is your spouse's risk score.
Yep.
But here's something else. As part of a retirement blueprint, when you come in and we build one for free for you, we do an analysis on your current portfolio. And we can tell you what risk your portfolio is at. Now, here's the problem there. We had a lady a couple of years ago came in, and she was 79 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she told us she had told her broker at a big box firm, one of the big ones, starts with an F. And she said, I've told my broker I want to be very, very, very conservative. And this lady had over $1 million in her portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
We did an analysis on her, and she came in the 30s, okay,
Wow.
really low risk,
Mm-hmm.
like she said.
Right.
We did an analysis on her portfolio, and it was right between 85 and 90 risk score
So
in her portfolio.
misaligned. Yeah.
So misaligned. You may be driving a car right now that has a front end alignment. You know, it's a misalignment. It's wobbling. Okay. Your portfolio may be wobbling and you don't even know it. You may be driving a car with a blindfold on when it comes to your risk tolerance and your risk level. Really important that you take care of your risk level, that you know that you're working with somebody who doesn't just give you generalities, who
Yep.
doesn't just say, yeah, I did what you told me. Well, what's my portfolio risk score? What's my risk score? And you compare them. You know numbers, at least 0 to 100, okay? You might not have been a math major, but you know 0 to 100, and you need to have your risk scores aligned.
Yes, so important to make sure it's matching up. And I know you see this all the time. I have as well. People think they're invested one way. They come in, they do these tests, they find out their scores and realize that there is this misalignment. It is so, so common. So, Tom, how do you help folks lower the risk that they're currently taking if there is that misalignment?
Well, if there's a misalignment, we've got to look. This is where, you know, if you got to put, if your front end is not aligned on the car,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to put it on a machine that will judge that alignment.
Yep.
Okay. And that's where we put the machine is this tool we call 𝗧𝗪𝗧. Now, some of you are out there and you say, well, boy, this is interesting to me. You need to call in and get on our schedule, come in and see one of our all-star advisors, 8 of us now, in 5 different offices all over Southern California. What can we do for you? We can put your portfolio and you on a machine called the 𝗧𝗪𝗧, and we can make sure that you're aligned, that your portfolio is aligned with your risk tolerance. And that's the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can guess, you can hope, you can be told and trust somebody that they're doing it. And here's a big question that I've actually had people ask me this. Why did my broker do that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me tell you really the bottom core. Your broker wants to keep your business.
Yep.
And if the market is making 25% and you're only making 12%, you sometimes think, well, why am I not making 25%? Well, number one, you could be in a poor portfolio. But number two, with us, you could have come in and aligned yourself with a portfolio that's only 40% as risky as the market. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, you can't expect to make as much as the market. Your broker is going to look at that. If I don't make as much as the market, I'm going to lose them. So they're going to put you in a very, very risky portfolio sometimes without you knowing it to keep your business. What's your risk score? That's where you need to know your score and you need to align.
Yes. And if you're wondering, okay, am I aligned? What is my risk score? What are my 3 risk scores? As Tom talked about, there's so many different elements to this that you need to be paying attention to you. Again, the team of 𝗧𝗵𝗿𝗀 Wealth Management would love to be able to walk you through this process for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It starts with you picking up the phone and making this important phone call to schedule your time to come in and start your very own complimentary retirement blueprint. 888-930-5609. We'll be back with more right after this.
For your own no-cost retirement blueprint, call Tom Mosley of Mosley Wealth Management, 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Which will you spend more money on in retirement? Food or healthcare? Do you take your investments out of the stock market now that you're retired? How do you know if you've saved enough to stay retired? Will your Social Security check be reduced in the future? How do you produce income from your nest egg to fight costs like taxes and inflation? At Mosley Wealth Management, Tom Mosley and the team take the guessing out of retirement planning by devising a written plan that accounts for all of your concerns. The bigger question, are you going to be okay in retirement? Find out the answers to your retirement questions by calling Tom Mosley of Mosley Wealth Management, 888-930-5609. Income, investments, Social Security, Medicare, longevity, health care. We cover these solutions and all of those other questions on your mind to answer, are you going to be okay in retirement? Call Tom Mosley and Mosley Wealth Management for your own complimentary retirement review, 888-930-5609.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. If you're just tuning in and joining us, a great conversation we are having about the 10 things that Tom wants everyone to know about retirement planning after being in this industry for almost 30 years. And Tom, we've got 3 more to get through. Let's dive in, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. So next up on our list is optimize tax efficiency in your retirement accounts. We could do an entire show on this one. It is that important.
Taxes. Taxes is one of the top 6 things. It is the thing that'll take your dreams away, according to 𝗧𝗪, who's known as America's authority on IRAs and 401ks and the taxation of them. But taxes are huge. By the way, Kristen, this is the season from the fall into the spring where we do a mix of Social Security seminars and workshops all over Southern California. We do a mix of Social Security and tax workshops. So
Yes.
you need to go to our website. Kristen, I'll let you give it to them in a minute. Go to our website and you can actually sign up to come to a workshop in your area. If you're interested in Social Security, go to one of those. If you're interested in taxes, go to a tax workshop. We're going to give you some general input on taxes that every person that walks out of there says, I found something useful in what you said in this hour. And we sprinkle them all over Southern California. So take advantage of that. We're going to talk about taxes. Kristen, tell them how they can find our website.
Absolutely. The website to go to look up the live events in your area is mosleywealthmanagement.com. That's MOSLEY wealthmanagement.com. Now, here's the great news. These workshops are free. It costs you nothing to attend. We do ask that you go ahead and register in advance so the team knows that you'll be there and they make sure they have more than enough materials and enough seats in the room. But yes, you can check out that events tab and see all the different events coming up in your area and select one that's most convenient for you. Again, that's mosleywealthmanagement.com. But the reason you spend so much time talking about taxes, you referenced this, Tom, it is one of the biggest silent killers of people's retirements. It becomes not so silent the older we get, and we're going to talk about why in just a minute here. But a lot of folks have never built a tax plan for themselves, a strategic tax plan to help you pay less to the IRS, because we don't want you to pay any more to the IRS than you are legally required to pay. That's what we're talking about.
Breaking news. Everybody that's listening to this show has a tax plan. Every one of you have a tax plan. Some of you are saying, where is my tax plan? I don't know if I have a tax plan. Like you just said, the IRS has a tax plan for you. And it is not necessarily in your benefit.
Nope.
They have a plan. as to how you're going to get taxed on every penny that you put in your IRA, your 401k, your 403b, your 457, every plan you've got at the post office, every plan you've got with your pension, they've got a plan for how they're going to tax it. Now, there's some rules. I'm not talking about breaking rules. I'm talking about legally, there are some ways to attack that plan that they have for you and build your own plan. And we're not talking about taking any cuts. We're not talking about doing anything hazy.
Right.
We're just
No tax evasion. We're talking about tax planning. Two very
we're
different things, right?
we're talking about tax planning. But I'm so surprised, and it's not to shame any of you, but it is to let you know that you need diversity among your tax plans. You need some plans that are tax deferred. You need some plans that are tax free, actually, where they grow without tax. And you need some plans that are probably taxable in that the basis of them has already been taxed, but you only get taxed on the growth. Now, when you're in retirement, I'm just shocked at how many people do not know whether they have a tax deferred plan or a tax free plan or a taxable plan.
Mm-hmm.
When we put together a retirement blueprint, one of the things we ask you to do is bring us all of your statements. And it is so common for you to be telling us that you've got an ABC plan when it comes to taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at it and clearly you've got an XYZ plan.
Yep.
And when we put together for the second appointment where we come back and we do our analysis, we actually categorize all of your tax plans, all of your accounts by the kind of tax plan that they are, and we color code them. Not because we're frustrated because we didn't get to use color crayons enough when we were in elementary school, or I'm never forgiven my kids over this. When I went through school, Kristen, there were 8 to 10 colors in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And when my kids went through school, there were 60 colors in the box, and we just had the basics. But what we do is we color those things. A red means every penny you take out of that plan, it's a tax deferred account, and that's going to come out as regular income. A blue is a taxable account. It's better, but every time that grows, it's going to be taxable. And if you've had growth within one of those blue colored taxable accounts, it's going to come out as capital gains, even a different way of being taxed. And if it's green, oh, you really want those green accounts because those are tax free.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we want to get the money in your plan eventually. So all of those things are important. I've had people come in and they looked at that sheet and they said, why all these colors? And then I walk them through why we color code that. If you've got money in the bank, we put that in purple. Okay, because that's money that you're in the bank, and that's your emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
That's your when it happens funds, because stuff still happens in retirement.
Yep.
And so, we're not even going to look at investing that. That's your money in the bank. So everything's got a color code, and it helps people separate. And then in the planning and the putting together of a plan for them, Kristen, many times people say, well, why don't we take this account and do this with it? And a little buzzer goes off and we say, no. Remember, this is color coded this way because from a tax standpoint, this is what's going to happen when you do that. So It is, if for no other reason, like you said, number 8, is to optimize your tax efficiency in those retirement plans between tax deferred, tax free, and taxable accounts. You say, all of this is over my head. All of this is a little confusing. Guess what? Some of you are engineers. Some of you are nurses. Some of you are teachers. And I could not do what you do,
Mm-hmm.
but I can do what we do, and my advisors can do what we do as professionals to help you save money on taxes and put together your tax plan. But I've seen so many people just go blindly into retirement, and where they lead me, I will follow. What they feed me, I will swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And they just do whatever the IRS has for them from a tax plan, when there are many times, most of the time, or better ways. Now, if you want to check this out, I'll give you something you can do right now.
Yes.
You can go online to 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗆.com. I've prepared a website there. You can put in your taxable accounts that are in your IRAs and your 401ks. That's all you need to put in that thing. You can punch in your tax percentage, your marginal tax rate. You'll have to know that. It'll help you structure that, and it'll tell you how much tax you're going to pay according to the IRS plan. Again, 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗆.com, and you can see it'll send you a report that will show you, according to the government tax plan, how much tax you're going to have to pay. Now, if you're not happy with that, when you see that number, that's when you need to call us. We can help you. We can help you take it out. Take it, pay that tax. You're going to have to pay the tax,
Right.
but we can help you pay it in your best interest at the optimal time for you. And that's what we're talking about, optimizing your tax, not avoiding your tax. If you, one person came in one time and they said, I'm working with a guy and he tells me that I can move my money from this account to this account to this account over 3 or 4 years. And this lady told me one time, she said, and he told me after about 5 years, he'd move it into an account where I wouldn't have to pay tax on it. And I looked at her and I said, I know exactly what that plan's called. She said, what? I said, it's called a penitentiary. Okay. That's where you're going to go. You're going to go to jail if you try to cheat the IRS.
Right.
But we're not talking about cheating the IRS. We're talking about doing your taxes, paying your taxes in retirement on your plan, and every one of you has a different plan.
And let me just share this too. When you go to 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗆𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, again, that's EASE_mytaxbill.com. It just asks for some very basic information, as Tom said. You're going to then be able to see side by side what the government's tax plan is for you versus what your tax plan could be if you engage in the strategic tax planning strategies that Tom and the team of Moseley Wealth Management help people do. Once you see the difference in those two numbers, you can't unsee that. And once you see that, we know that you're going to want help to make sure that you can have that strategic tax plan for yourself. So again, we invite you to visit 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗆𝗀𝗆𝗀𝗀.com. Part of the reason why there's that difference between what the government's plan is for you versus what you can be doing even now proactively to lower your tax bill is because of the next item on our list, the importance of understanding your required minimum distributions.
Right. You say, so many people come to me and they say, I've got enough money, I've got enough income flow, I've got a pension, I've got socials, I've got an annuity that's guaranteed for life to pay me for as long as I live, for as long as my wife's here. We've got our income taken care of. We don't need to take money out of our IRAs or our 401ks. Problem, the government needs the tax.
Yep.
So right now at 73, if you were born in 1951 or before, you have to pay RMDs. I hate to cut this short. You know what I'm going to do?
What?
We're going to extend this program to next week.
I love it.
And we're going to talk about RMDs. And there were so many things I narrowed down. I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 more things that are really crucial that I've seen. But here's the point. If you need help in any area, and many times you need help and you don't even know you need help, or if you want a second opinion, call and get on our calendar. One of our 8 all-star advisors will meet with you. We're in Encino, Arcadia, Ontario, Anaheim, Scripps Ranch, and we will sit down with you and we will build a plan for you that will prepare you for retirement. It's called a retirement blueprint, but you've got to call in to get one.
And that number to call is 888-930-5609, or you can also visit us online at moseleywealthmanagement.com. That's MOSLEY wealthmanagement.com. Hey, thanks so much for being here this weekend. We appreciate you joining us. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next week here on Right on the Money with Tom Moseley.
Investment advisory services offered by duly registered individuals through Moseley Wealth Management Incorporated. Moseley Wealth Management and Moseley Insurance and Financial Services are affiliated companies by common ownership license number OB61811. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refers to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength, claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This content is intended for for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the needs of an individual situation. All hypothetical examples are provided for illustrative purposes only. They do not represent real-life scenarios. Mosley Insurance and Financial Services, nor its agents or representatives, may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any investment decisions. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. Some of the information provided may be from one or more third parties, which we believe to be reliable sources, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Mosley Insurance and Financial Services.